What's up everybody, Billy from Typical Reviews here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Nexus 5X by LG. The Nexus 5X is the successor to LG's Nexus 5 that was released back in 2013. But is it a worthy successor and worth the upgrade if you're still rocking the original Nexus 5? Find out in today's video. First off is my impressions of the externals. Immediately I noticed how light the phone was. Weighing in at only 136 grams or 4.8 ounces for my American friends, I was astonished by that immediately when I took it phone out of the box. I'm so used to phones being made of metal and the weight that accompanies that, so I wasn't really expecting how light this phone was. And to that effect, the phone is indeed made out of plastic, but that's not to say that it feels cheap. It actually feels fantastic and well built in hand. No, it doesn't feel as premium as other phones made of metal, but it definitely feels competent and durable. Going around the phone, it has a nano SIM card slot on the left side of the phone, a USB Type-C port and headset jack on the bottom. The volume rockers and power button are on the right side of the phone. On the back of the phone is one of the new features for the Nexus line, a fingerprint scanner. Now I have to admit, coming from an iPhone, the fingerprint scanner placement on this phone is impeccable. It's in such a natural position for when you grab the phone to use it, and it's really fast too. I was finding that when I was taking it out of my pocket, that my finger naturally rested on it and the phone was already unlocked and ready to use as soon as I had it out, which was absolutely fantastic. Great job on that one, LG. There are only a few gripes that I have, and they're not even that big of a deal. One, the phone doesn't really sit flat on its back due to the placement of the camera since it protrudes a little bit, but I'm sure a case could probably make that all flush. Two, it doesn't include a regular USB to USB Type-C cable, which means if you want to use it with a different charger or connect it to your computer, you're going to need to buy one since it only includes a USB Type-C to Type-C cable. And my third gripe is, despite it appearing to have dual front-facing speakers, only the bottom one actually produces any sound. The top one is for the ear portion of when you actually take a phone call, but really, who even makes phone calls anymore? This phone is rocking a 5.2-inch 1080p LCD display with a DPI of 423, which is pretty solid, but I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not an AMOLED display. But at this price point, it does come with the territory. It's loaded with a Snapdragon 808 processor, Adreno 418 GPU, 2GB of RAM, and a non-removable 270 mAh battery. These are specs comparable to flagship smartphones of 2014, but they still hold up well in 2015. It could be Android Marshmallow 6.0, but I was pleasantly surprised with the phone's performance. I rarely noticed any slowdowns in my day-to-day usage. It was quick, responsive, and the battery held up pretty well too. I had approximately 4 hours of on-screen time during the day. The rapid charging on this phone is a beauty as well. I did a quick 15-minute charge and I was able to go from 8% to 32%, which is absolutely phenomenal when you are in a pinch. This phone also has a pretty good camera. It's rocking a 12.3 megapixel laser autofocus shooter. You can easily access the camera app by double tapping the power button, so you never miss out on another moment again. The photo quality is great, but I would suggest shooting with HDR+ on, as without it, photos tended to be overexposed. The 5 megapixel front camera was very solid as well, but the same thing applies where it's better to shoot with HDR+ enabled. For videos, it does shoot in 4K at 30 frames per second, but unfortunately there isn't any optical stabilization, so you may notice small shakes if you're not holding the phone steady when taking videos. It also shoots slow-mo videos in 120 frames per second. It's not 240 frames per second, but it's still pretty solid. The phone comes in either 16GB or 32GB models with no additional storage options like a microSD slot. But I found that if you use a lot of cloud services like Dropbox and Spotify, it wasn't too much of a problem for me. But if you do shoot a lot of photos and videos and keep them on your phone, that might be a concern for you. The Nexus 5X, like all phones in the Nexus line, runs the latest Android operating system. It's shipped with Marshmallow 6.0 directly out of the box. The main appeal of having a Nexus phone is that you're first in getting updates directly from Google. You don't have to wait for your phone's manufacturer or carrier to update to the latest version of Android. As soon as Google launches the latest update, the Nexus phones are the first to get it, so there's no waiting around. The other benefit is that the Nexus phones run stock Android. It's the way that Google wants the OS to be experienced. You can still customize it and even change the launcher if you will, but this is the way that Google intends it to be. Therefore, there are no additional skins on top or additional bloatware when you actually get the phone. But perhaps the biggest appeal is that the Nexus phones, if purchased from the Google Store, come completely unlocked, so all you have to do is pop in your SIM card and you're good to go. There are a bunch of improvements in Android 6.0 Marshmallow, like Doze, which helps to conserve battery life if you're not using the phone for an extended period of time, but one of my favorite new features has got to be Google Now on tap. By simply holding down the home button, what's on screen will be scanned by Google Now on tap for keywords. It will then give you some information and links that lead you to other places. It's a pretty nifty feature that's still in its infancy stages, but I'm sure it will get even better over time.
The overall user experience is fantastic in my opinion. I'm a big fan of stock Android, and I enjoy the look and feel of it overall. There's no bloatware to contend with, and it gets updates first, which is a fantastic bonus.
So who is this phone for? Well, if you're a person who still has the original Nexus 5, the Nexus 5X is definitely a worthy upgrade. It's a solid move forward with the fingerprint scanner on the back, a really great camera on it, and just the stock Android experience. The phone sets itself as a mid-tier device with the price and its build material, but it's honestly a very competent daily driver. Now, it may not have every single feature that I would want in a phone, like a removable battery, an external like SD card slot, or even an AMOLED display, but for the price that you're getting this device for, it's an absolute bargain. So if you're the type of person that doesn't want to shell out the money for, let's say, a brand new flagship like an iPhone or a new Samsung, the Nexus 5X has got you covered. Thank you very much for watching our review of the Nexus 5X. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to press that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to Typical Reviews, go ahead and do that right now. Now that we've gone over the Nexus 5X, I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you think it's a worthy mid-tier device? Let us know in the comment section below. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and peace out.